Has anyone here been gaslit by a white woman in the workplace? Well, this Black Mirror episode will give you PTSD. The episode begins with a young woman eating jam while watching the news about a woman jumping off a building. Her boyfriend yaps about a holiday in Spain. She makes him try her new creation, miso jam. With a Bernie's chicken hat on the table, he teases and snuggles up with her, hoping to put his jam inside her. On a Monday at DITA headquarters, Maria arrives for work and is then called in to prepare for the tasting. She examines her new version of the Hucklebuck. Yudi commends her for her out-of-the-box but brilliant ideas. Camille walks in and Maria offers her a sample. My big back would love to eat chocolate for work. Camille heads into the conference room and welcomes the participants of the tasting session, while Maria and her colleagues observe through a two-way mirror. A blonde woman walks in and says she's there for the tasting. The woman introduces herself as Varity Green. Camille checks the list and confirms she is part of the group. Maria is surprised to see her, recognizing her from school, and stunned by her glow-up because apparently she was fugly before. Camille begins the tasting, introducing a fresh take on the classic Hucklebuck created by Maria and her team. She invites the participants to try a piece and share their thoughts. Maria anxiously awaits their reactions. A guy immediately says it's bad. Camille glances at Maria with concern. Another woman agrees, saying she prefers the regular Hucklebuck. When the group asks about the flavor, Camille explains it's miso, a type of umami. The guy ridicules the choice, asking why they'd even do that. Then Varity asks for another piece. After trying it again, she says it's a grower, not a shower. The second one tastes 10 times better. She urges the others to try it again. They do, and agree with her, praising how the saltiness complements the chocolate. Varity ends up saving the tasting, but this unsettles Maria. Later in the ladies' room, Varity runs into Maria and reintroduces herself. Maria remembers her from school. Varity asks if she's also there for the tasting, but Maria reveals she works in R&D. Varity says she was just at a tasting and she's applying for a research assistant position. Maria says she hasn't heard of the job opening. Varity says it's on the website. She then reminisces about how Maria was the popular one in school, while she was the geek. The conversation turns awkward, so Maria excuses herself. Maria checks the company website and finds the job listing. She walks up to Gabe to ask about it. Gabe explains they're expanding the team and reassures her she's doing great. He mentions that Mr. DITA liked her mallow concept and is considering a global release. He says she can ask Mr. DITA about it directly since he's coming over on Thursday. Might as well call him Diddy. At home, Maria talks to her boyfriend about Varity, how she hasn't seen her in years, and now out of nowhere, she was in the tasting session and is applying for a job at her office. Maria doesn't like the idea. She remembers Varity as the school freak. She was smart, but something about her was off. She brings up an old high school rumor that Varity allegedly gave a teacher, Mr. Kendrick, a jandhob in the computer room, which earned her the nickname Milkmaid. Natalie Kane was one of her biggest bullies. Tuesday comes, and Varity is being interviewed by Gabe. He's impressed by her track record and seems to enjoy the interview. From a distance, Maria watches the interaction with a troubled expression. Gabe introduces Varity to the rest of the office and asks Nick to help her find a desk. Maria approaches Gabe to question Verity's rapid advancement. Gabe explains that Varity is overqualified. Maria insists they verify the legitimacy of her resume. Gabe scoffs, but Maria points out that they went to school together. Gabe asks if they didn't get along, but Maria only says Varity was odd. Gabe defends Varity, so Maria drops it and simply tells him to check her credentials. He promises to call around. Somebody call Paw Patrol because something is amiss. When Maria gets home, she immediately rants about Gabe hiring Varity. Her boyfriend pauses his game and asks if she has beef with Varity. Maria denies it, but he presses further, saying it sounds like she does. This irritates Maria, and she snaps at him. She drinks her beer, staring into space with a vacant, troubled look on her face. Wednesday arrives. As Maria gets to work, she boards the elevator just as Gabe stops the doors from closing. He tells her he checked Verity's credentials. They're solid. He also informs her that Varity will be shadowing her and Yudi today to learn. Maria protests, but she has no choice. When she enters the office, Varity is already there, handing out treats. The team is clearly loving her white girl charm. Maria slouches in her seat, visibly uncomfortable. A bit later, Maria begins briefing Varity on the project. She lists the ingredients they'll need, and Varity takes notes. Maria makes it a point to say that Mr. DITA doesn't eat some animal-based gelatin, so they'll be using seaweed carrageenan instead. Meanwhile, Nick and Louisa argue about almond milk, which distracts Maria as she tries to spell carrageenan. She gives up and tells Varity she'll just email it. While composing the email, she corrects her spelling for carrageenan. Then she overhears the group talking about fast food chains. Nick mentions Barney's, which catches Maria's attention. She corrects him. It's Bernie's. They bicker for a moment until Maria Googles it and is stunned to find it is Barney's. Nick keeps teasing her, but she's too unsettled to respond. That night, Maria examines her boyfriend's old work cap, and she tells him to look at it. He replies that it's always been spelled that way, and if anyone would know, it's him. He suggests it might be the Mandela effect, where people collectively misremember things. Maria is upset for embarrassing herself at work and irrationally blames Varity. Her boyfriend pushes back, asking what Varity has to do with it. Maria confesses that she's angry her coworkers like Varity and that she's becoming popular. He calls her out, saying she likes it when everyone is sucking her D, and this infuriates Maria even more. She snaps at him and storms off to the bedroom. Later, Maria scrolls through old photos on social media. She comes across a group picture of her and her besties, only to spot Varity lurking creepily in the background. She randomly messages Natalie, trying to reconnect and suggesting they catch up. Natalie leaves her unread. Frustrated, Maria puts the phone down. Thursday comes and Mr. Ditta is on site for a visit. Gabe introduces Nick, Yudi, and finally Maria, praising her for her brilliant concoctions. Mr. Ditta compliments her work and begins sampling the products. When he tries the new doubloon, he notes that the texture is interesting. Maria explains that it's made with carrageenan, but Yudi gives a strange look. She's about to speak up but hesitates. As Mr. Ditta walks away, Gabe turns to Yudi and asks what's wrong. Yudi reveals that the mallow contained beef gelatin. Gabe is alarmed. Mr. Ditta is Hindu and doesn't eat cows. They praise them. Maria insists she clearly said carrageenan, but Yudi counters that it wasn't on Varity's list. In Gabe's office, Varity and Maria are called in. Varity denies any knowledge of carrageenan, claiming that Maria must have been distracted. She further insists that Maria only mentioned non-pork gelatin. The white girl tells her to stop shouting at her, and this microaggression confuses Maria because she isn't shouting. Gabe agrees that Maria is raising her voice. Tensions rise until they check the email. Sure enough, the message says, non-pork gelatin. Maria is stunned. Gabe asks her to apologize. Maria storms back into Gabe's office, insisting she knows what she wrote. Gabe tells her to calm down, suggests she take some time off, and warns her to stop obsessing over Varity, saying it's beginning to look vindictive. Defeated, Maria returns to her desk. That night at dinner, Maria vents about the email. Her boyfriend pushes back, saying maybe she's just mistaken. Then she gets a response from Natalie, but from her husband, Dan. He explains that Natalie passed away a few days ago. Shocked, Maria immediately calls him. She asks how Natalie died. Dan reveals she took her own life and had been paranoid about people lying in her final days. When Maria asks about Varity, Dan gets uncomfortable and warns her not to reach out again. Her boyfriend, fed up, puts away the dishes and slams the bedroom door. Friday morning, Maria walks into the office. Varity greets her, informing her that a meeting started at 8 a.m. and that Gabe sent out an email yesterday. Maria says she must have missed it, and Varity suggests it might have gone to her junk folder. Varity then asks if Maria has a problem with her. Maria denies it. Varity brings up their past, and they break into an emotional conversation about unresolved issues from high school. Maria apologizes. Varity walks toward her with a cold expression, grabs Luisa's almond milk from the fridge, and drinks it, staring Maria down the entire time. Then she drops it to the floor. Maria is too stunned to speak. I would have slapped this young Nicole Kidman. Soon after, the rest of the team arrives. Gabe asks why Maria missed the meeting. She explains that the email must have gone to spam. Luisa finds her almond milk on the ground and complains. The team looks at Maria, and she blurts out that it was Varity. Varity plays the victim, telling everyone Maria drank the milk. Maria scoffs, saying she has a nut allergy and would never drink almond milk. Gabe, trying to get to the bottom of it, decides to check the surveillance footage. In the security room, they review the video. As the footage rolls, Varity speaks into her pendant, claiming it was Maria who drank the milk. To Maria's horror, the footage suddenly shows her grabbing the almond milk from Verity's hand and drinking it herself. She panics, shouting that it's impossible. She has a nut allergy. Varity mutters into her pendant, "There's no such thing as a nut allergy." And suddenly the mood shifts. No one in the room knows what a nut allergy is. Maria frantically Googles it, but it turns up nothing. Stunned, she turns to Varity and asks, "How are you doing this?" She locks eyes with her pendant, realizing it's the source. As she lunges forward, Gabe grabs her. She takes a deep breath. Varity winks. Maria snaps and charges at her again. Gabe fires Maria due to her declining mental health, making her unfit to work. She stares at Varity, who cries her white women tears, then taunts her from a distance. Gabe continues to tell her to rest, but she cusses him out. In the parking lot, Maria waits for Varity to get into her car, then follows her home. She parks outside the gates and sneaks in. She breaks a window and the music drowns out the sound. Once inside, she finds huge computer processors lined up. She comes up and sees Varity about going into the bathroom. She sneaks into her bedroom and searches for the pendant. She sees photographs of Varity and her achievements in alternate realities. She finds the pendant on a shelf. Verity walks out of the bathroom and Maria hides under the bed. She turns off the music and sits on the bed. Maria presses the pendant again and it beeps, making her flinch. Verity notices and puts on her robe, then tells her to come out. She threatens to call the police. Maria comes out and tells her she has her pendant. Verity reveals it only works with her fingerprint ID. Maria claims the pendant alters reality, but Verity corrects her, saying it's only a remote that connects to the quantum compiler downstairs. She even shows an entire box with more of the pendants. She further explains it gives her the ability to pick a parallel reality where everything she says is true. She gives her a demo, changing her shirt color to red, making her speak Chinese, shifting location to the office, then back to her house. Maria asks why she's doing this, and Verity reveals Nat told her it was Maria who made up the rumor about Mr. Kendrick back in the day. And she's doing all of this to get back at her. Maria confesses, and they get emotional. Maria tells her she could do anything with that power, and Verity tells her she's done it all, seen it all. No matter the achievement, her traumas are still there, aching away. She then asks Maria how she thinks she'll take her life, but Maria tackles her and bangs her head to the floor. They fight over the pendant, and Verity grabs it, saying the police are here to apprehend her because she broke into her house with a knife. As the officers arrest her, she grabs the cop's gun and shoots Verity in the head. Then she uses Verity's finger to make the pendant work for her. She then brainwashes the cops and tells them to follow her orders. They kneel to the ground. Maria then claims to be the Empress of the universe. She is then transported to an empire with thousands of people worshiping her. And this is how Beyoncé became the Empress of our current universe, y'all. This was a trippy Black Mirror episode, and one I kinda enjoyed. A lot of their episodes haven't been hitting the same, but I kinda like this one. What did you guys think? Should we cover more?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.